Oh, I didn't take the banner off. There we go. Hi there. Hi there. Welcome. It's Trisha Broderick with Ignite Insight and Innovation coming live first Friday of the month. And honestly, still riding high after Agile 2024. Like, just such a good week, people. Such a great week. And this week has just been awesome. Lots of energy with things, getting things done. I'm bury and undig in my email after being out for a week, but um, just a wonderful, wonderful time. And so today's live, I wanted to build off of last month's Lead Without Blame live with Diana, where Diana and I talked about the value of a shared meaningful purpose, both for a team and for yourself. And one of the questions I get a lot, or I help people with sometimes individually, is finding that purpose or finding that brand, finding kind of why you're doing what you're doing, so that it's in alignment, so that you can make choices about what you're working on, what you're not working on, or what you want to do, what you don't want to do. So I thought I'd give you a couple of my tips of things that I use, I talk with. There's kind of some basic starting points, some basic things along those lines. So tip number one is just take a little bit of time to think about when you've been on cloud nine, right? Like, I'm still smiling a week later after Agile 24. Okay. Because being with people, engaging, connecting, all of it kind of refills my energy. Right. And so if you think about your times that you've been on cloud nine, that you're so excited about something, you want to share it with people, even people that are not in your workplace, right? Even people that might not know what you do or why you do it or any of those things, but you're just like, I want to shout this from the rooftops. Create that list. See if there's a pattern in that list. See if there's something in those moments, those situations, those rewards that you can find some commonality with, right? Is it all tied to product innovation? Is it all tied to connection and people? Is it all tied to, technical, right? What refills that energy for you, right? And sometimes we have to like stop and think about when. And I know that if you're like, I haven't been on cloud nine recently, Trisha, it's okay. Just think about last couple of times, right? There is probably something, even if like some of the doom feels bigger right now, right? But when was that moment that you're like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, right? And you had that pure laugh, that pure happiness. See what those are, because there's chances are you want to be aligning your purpose to things that are going to give you energy, right? And going to give you more of those moments, not less, which is actually the second tip that I'm going to highlight. And for some people, they go in different orders, right? But for some people, they're like, I can't think about what puts me on high. All I can think about is what I cannot stand. So if number one is kind of creating that list of cloud nine moments, highs, your highs, and finding patterns in those, tip two is finding your lows, right? Finding those moments of things that you dread, things that you try and avoid, things that you just, if you can delegate it off or transfer it or just never do it, you would be happy, right? Like, but it isn't the task itself that you're trying. It's then once you've got a list of those, what's the patterns in those? Is the pattern associated to it's making me think of things that I don't like doing, right? I don't, as much as people make me happy, sales and marketing, it's necessary, but I'm super uncomfortable. I avoid it. It does not fill my energy. It is not something I enjoy, but it isn't the marketing task itself, right? I can do that, but why, right? And one of my purposes is that genuine, authentic connection. And so when I think about marketing and sales, and it's not genuine and authentic, it gives me ucky vibes. I can't handle it, right? And so you're looking in those highs, whether it's tip one, or the lows in tip two, for the patterns of why those things fall in those categories, right? Not just the specific task, but the whys behind them, because that's going to help you to figure out what is really driving you or not driving you as you're going forward with things. And then the third one that I tell people, which is honestly like so easy, and yet we just don't do it. Talk with people, right? ask them what they do, why they do it. Like if you had asked me throughout most of my career, what are you going to be doing in 5 years? I would have been freaking wrong. Maybe at the very beginning, I would have been right. Diane and I were just talking about this earlier today, but like in general, I could have never told you that I'd be running my own business, that I'd be a co-author of a book, that I'd be independent. Trisha, who loves people, be independent in a solo company right now, right? Like never in the history of it. But until I was talking with people, until I started engaging with people, like, what do you do? Why do you do that? Could I feel like what was energizing me when they were talking? What was like, oh no, I would not like that, right? But you don't know what you don't know. So get curious, right? For those that might have been on this morning's call, get into that exploration, get into those areas that are like, what do you do and why, right? What's meaningful for you? Why are you doing that? Why are you spending your time doing this? Like, right? Why do I speak? And I spent a lot of time talking with other people. Why do they speak? Why? And as people are kind of engaging and thinking about going on the speaking circuit now, like, I'm like, why? What are you trying to achieve? But just talk with people because you'll find what you connect with as you're talking. It's like, oh yeah, that really registers with me. No, that's not mine, right? And it will be different for everybody, and that's beautiful. But if you don't have the conversations, you can't really start to find your own messaging, right? I just went someplace and realized, like, I was at this community event, and each person I talked to was some kind of variation of a leadership advisor, or an efficiency consultant, or an organizational transformation, consultant, or whatever the words were, but similar in different ways, right? Similar. And it made me start thinking about, it's like, but part of each one of us, we might say similar words of what we do, but why we do it can be vastly different. And that why can play into it, into how we approach those engagements, how we approach what type of work within those engagements, because leadership advisors is huge. Like there's 100 different avenues within that. And so I have to think about my purpose in terms of what I'm doing. And sometimes by talking with other people, I can realize, oh no, I am not looking to do that. That needs to happen. Kudos to you for doing it. But that's not my goal. That doesn't align with why I'm here, or what I'm trying to achieve, or my purpose, right? With things. And the more that you kind of do kind of what I guess all three of these tips would equate to is research, right? The more that you start to be able to find the words for your purpose, being able to find the reason that you're doing what you're doing, which then makes it a lot easier to prioritize, a lot easier to choose, a lot easier to articulate and explain, and then sell and market yourself as you're going forward with it. And I found that the more that I did that research, the more that it just kind of became clear about what I'm doing, and more importantly, why I'm doing it. And when those things are in alignment, then you get a much stronger, authentic delivery, a much stronger, authentic connection, and better chance of actually achieving that purpose that you're trying to achieve. So those are my 3 top tips of just research-based and finding your purpose and doing things. Clearly, you got to do more than that, but gives you a little bit of starting point with things. So coming up, I do have a virtual ACSM class next week, but I do believe it is full at this point. I do have a couple seats left in the Leading Amazing Teams course with Jake Calabrese in 2 weeks in August, virtual. Definitely want to check that out, especially if you're tired of being like the hub that you want to scale. You want your teams getting more and more empowered. This is excellent content, things that I wish I had known much earlier in my career. October seems to be the month of more conferences. So I have a couple months off of conferences, and then October is going to hit big, where I will be a keynote at Innovate over in Virginia, a keynote here in Denver area for WCIT, and then I will be doing a couple tutorials at the TechWell conference in Orlando, all in October. There are 2 more that are coming, but they're not finalized yet, so I don't want to say anything quite yet. And then I have a couple other things that are in the works that I am starting to highlight in different access points or different avenues to get resources, depending on what you're interested in, what you're looking for. So we have partnered with Comparative Agility, and there's an assessment tool for the 4 C's of learning. Diane and I are going to be doing a little session for them and talking about that assessment. So on comparative agility, and the live or the session talking about it, I think it's going to be next week, but it is definitely next week. I just don't know specifically, but you can find them on LinkedIn for comparative agility. They just posted for it. 2 is I am an expert and contributor for the Agile Network that just got announced. And there are a couple codes available for a month free or a discount for a subscription using my codes. And I wasn't very good and I didn't have them up right away. So give me a second while I kind of talk slowly and I have them up so that you have it. And I'll put it in the links. But this is a really cool platform. Speaking of aligning to my purpose, it gives me an opportunity to partner with different people that I might not normally be able to partner with, gives me an opportunity to engage in those things. And so super excited about that. I put the link to the URL there, and let me put the codes real quick as well, just so you have access to those. But they're having more experts joining every day. Like every day I see new faces, or I have somebody contact me asking me why I did it. And if they might be interested in doing it. So I think there's going to just be a wonderful range of articles, content, interactions, one-on-ones. I think there's a chance for me to give cameos, which I don't even know quite what a cameo is. I'm that person. Don't mock my age. Don't mock me. Okay. But both of those are available with things along the lines. So those are both there for things. And then the third thing I wanted to highlight that I'm experimenting with, we'll see where it goes. Some people were asking for a Patreon account. And so I also did a Patreon account that you can have access to, where I'm going to kind of go a little bit more. I mean, I'm always personal. I blend my professional and personal here, but in the Patreon, I'm going to go really kind of deeper. So for example, like today, I'm going to go one layer deeper on this purpose, but really kind of go into my personal purpose and the background behind that. And so it's just a little bit of a different, little less professional, a little more personal, but also access to materials and things. Like I just uploaded my Agile 2024 slides up into the Patreon account, things like that. So just different ways to access me. I'll keep doing these live, smaller versions free out on LinkedIn, but just experiments and trying different ways to scale and to reach people in ways that might suit them best. So till next time, I'll see you in September. Crazy. See you in September.